Cal Banyan here. Cal Banyan's Hypnosis, etc. Once again with Meredith Locker. Hey, if you guys are watching this video anywhere except calbanyan.com, you want to go there because right below this video, right down there, you know what we have? We have graphics, we have additional information, notes and text, and we have links to more cool stuff on the web that kind of just make this video more powerful, more valuable to you, and that's what it's all about. Hey, let me introduce to you Meredith Locker, my co-host. She is the Hypnotist 1%er, and you know what? If I had family or friends in the Los Angeles area that wanted to change their lives with hypnosis, I would definitely recommend them to Meredith because she is serious. She gets results, and that's all we really care about. And besides that, she's a globetrotter. Not the basketball kind, but you know, the kind that goes all over the world. She is an adventurer and a dog lover. So you know, she is one heck of a lady from the inside out. How you doing, Meredith?
I'm doing so good, Cal. How are you?
You're always holding your breath when I'm introducing you because you think, what is he going to say next, right?
I never do know. I never ever do know. But I'm relatively consistent for the most part. I'm not sure if you guys know who Cal is, but you know what? He has 5 different credentials after his name. 5. I have 2. I think I need to work on that. I need to get a few more after my name. But he is the one that created 5th Path and 7th Path Self-Hypnosis. He's authored many books, many journal articles for the NGH. He presents every year at the NGH. He just won a brand new award at the NGH. Pretty amazing stuff. And, you know, he's the one that trains the top 1%ers. He's the one that trained me, and I'm honored to be able to work with him. He's Cal Banyan. That's who he is.
Ooh, boy. You know, my mom really likes these videos. She just rewinds the part where you introduce me over and over again because she thinks I'm pretty special too. Hey, let me tell you what. If you guys are watching this on Saturday, no, is it Saturday? When is September 11th this year? Saturday. You know what I'm doing? I am probably, if it's during the day, I am somewhere between Irvine, California and San Diego because I'm on a 100-mile bicycle ride, and I'm so excited to be doing this, and I'll probably be posting updates to Facebook. I haven't figured out, probably I might just do it on Hypnosis, etc. on Facebook and let you guys know how I'm doing, maybe post some pictures of me with, hopefully it's not too hot, but if it's hot, I'll have a sweatband on. I'll be going like this, looking like a big old puppy dog, my tongue hanging out. But I'm very excited to do that. Can't do it next year because my daughter's getting married at that time next year, so doggone it. Otherwise, I'd try to talk Meredith into riding with me next year. So you're off the hook.
Yay!
You're too busy to have any fun with me except here on camera.
It's true. You know, I have been riding though, Cal. I haven't told you. I've been cycling in cycle classes where you go into a room with a whole bunch of other people and you get onto a bike and you have a person telling you how hard to ride and you make it harder or easier because you twist this thing on the bike, and so it makes it really hard like you're going uphill or really easy like you're going really fast. And so I'm kind of training for it a little.
Those are like spin classes, do they call them?
Yep, exactly. For some reason, spin, they got away from using that name lately, and now they're back to cycle. I think maybe someone, you know, copyrighted or what have you, trademarked the name spin, and so now they're back to kind of using a more generic term. But yeah, same thing. They're awesome. I love them.
So why are you doing this?
For my butt. For
your butt?
Yeah.
They say that the family who rides together has great calves and buns together, you know.
Apparently they do. My butt seems to be enjoying it.
Oh, good. Well, happy buttocks to you. All right. Well, let's get back to hypnosis, shall we?
We shall.
You know, she keeps bringing up the naked broadcast, and we're not going to do it. It was a joke, but she says, you know, we really ought to do that nude podcast. I don't know.
Let me qualify. When I was telling everybody about Cal's grand new honor Cal happened to not have his new lapel pin with him. And I said, well, the only way we can get away with talking about your new honor and you not wearing the pin is if we go ahead and do the nude podcast. I mean, it's just what makes sense. Isn't that true, Cal?
Well, do I have to shave my chest?
I don't know. You guys have to write in and let us know if indeed we do the nude podcast. Should Cal shave his chest or not? What do you want to see?
Hey, I read an article about bicyclists shaving their legs. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm considering doing that, because it would take longer to shave my legs than it would to do the bike ride. But do you know why they do that?
Aerodynamics, I'm sure.
Well, what they said in the article is it doesn't make any difference. It has to do with particularly if you crash. And it's easier to treat you for road rash if you don't have hair on your legs and arms and back and stuff like that.
Oh, Cal, I'm so glad you shared that. That really makes me want to get on the road with you.
Oh, wow. Hey, so let's see. Let me get in a quick little commercial here, and that is a really, really short one this time. Go to hypnosiscenter.com, because you know what? Next year we're raising our tuition. We've kept it down as long as we can, and you need to get into these classes. November is my NGH-approved Banyan Hypnosis Certification Super Course, the 5-path and 7-path, and you might even be able to get in on an early registration. The only way to find out is to go to hypnosiscenter.com, check it out, and also for you guys who are already certified and you want to get that 5-path and 7-path and become a 1%er, got to go to hypnosiscenter.com, because I'm looking over here, because over there on my wall I have a big calendar. October is the week of power. It is the 3rd through the 9th of October, and the big certification course I was talking about in November is the 1st through the 12th, with the weekend in the middle off. Okay, there's my commercial. What you got for me today, Meredith?
Well, you know, just in continuation of our professional development episode we did last, it seemed like it made sense to talk a little bit about doing interviews. You know, I know that you've done quite a few interviews over the years in different forms of media, and you know, those of us who really want to get our name out there and want to get published and want to get recognized and maybe even get more clients, you know, it would behoove us to do some more interviews. But I'm sure a lot of people are nervous because they haven't done it, don't know how to get into it, don't know, you know, what it would entail and how to prepare. And so I'd love to know from you some of the basics. I mean, first of all, how do you go about getting yourself interviewed in the first place? Have you ever actively pursued it, or have they always come straight to you?
Actually, I think probably about 98% of the time they've come to me. And the interesting thing about hypnosis is that we're very interesting. You know, it's not like you're an insurance agent, and you know, getting interviewed as an insurance agent is probably tougher. But when we first opened up the Hypnosis Center in Mounds View, Minnesota, back in the day, back in 1996, there was a lot of curiosity, and we had some local, you know, really, really local. I mean, like, there's the whole Minneapolis, St. Paul area, and then there's a little tiny suburb where we were, Mounds View in northern Minneapolis. And you know, the local paper, you know, asked for an interview, and I was happy to do that. And then what happens is, you know, the larger area, like newspapers or magazines or radio stations, they watch to see what's interesting in the local areas. So eventually those things kind of begin to trickle up. For us, it's trickle-up economics, right? And also some things you can do is if you can look at your local newspapers and see who writes, what authors write about alternative stuff, you know, alternative care and interesting things like that. And you can contact them and see if they'd like to do an article on you. I know I have a local writer who does reviews that's been after me to do an article on the Banyan Hypnosis Center here in Orange County. And so, you know, we're just interesting. Now, the trick is, a lot of people, if you're open to it, you're going to be sending out these vibes. I'm open to being interviewed. I'm open to being interviewed. And that will attract the interviews to you. But if you're like, oh my God, I hope somebody does an interview. I'd like to be interviewed, but I'm kind of scared about it. Then you're not sending out good vibes, you see. So a lot of it's just really being interested in doing it. And then what will happen is you will attract this kind of attention. Now, how can you go from that person who's like, I want to be interviewed, to from that person who goes, I'm not so sure if I want to be interviewed? I'm going to tell you an insider tip, trick, and technique that I learned. This is what you do, is you need to have a list of questions that you would like to be asked if you were interviewed. This is tremendous. So think about what kind of questions people ask you all the time, or even better, that you wished people would ask you about your practice and about hypnosis or about hypnotherapy and this kind of thing, and write them down. I found that, you know what, radio interviewers, TV interviewers, news people, and article writers are people just like you and me, and you know what? They will tend to do what's easy. And so if they're going to do an article on you, on hypnosis, or your practice, or news crew is going to come in, if you give them that list of questions, you know what? 90%, maybe 99% of what they're going to ask you is those questions. Now, how's that? You go into the radio station, or you have the interviewer over, and ahead of time you sent them, when you made the appointment to do the interview, you said, hey, just to kind of help you out, here are some commonly asked questions about hypnosis or hypnotism or my practice that you can use or not use or modify, but kind of a place to get you started. And when they see that, they think, wow, most of my job's been done for me. I don't have to do the research, and they will just ask you those questions. And if you don't know the answer to those questions, you're not smart enough to be a hypnotist because you sent them the questions. So that is a really good thing. What does that do? You know the answers to the questions, and it changes you inside, because you now know that if you get called for an interview, or if you get called for a news type thing, then you're going to be able to look good. And I want to tell you another thing. The interviewer, be it on the radio or a magazine or a newspaper, they want you to look good. They don't want you to look dumb, because then that makes them look dumb, unless they're doing some kind of weird investigative thing. And those people in your community, they have a reputation, and you know who they are, and just avoid them. Or, if you're really, really confident and you're doing everything right like you should be, then go ahead and talk to them. Does that kind of help, Meredith?
That does. And so, of course, we're going to, when it comes into getting into what you talk about and the kinds of questions, we want to dispel the misperceptions about hypnosis. I mean, that's something I think that we're all trying to do, person by person. But, apart from your clients, if you get an article out there, you can really dispel misperceptions in a large group of people very quickly, whoever reads the article, right? And so, of course, you're going to want to, cover those kinds of things. But what would be something a little out of the ordinary that you might have the interviewer ask you about, or the information that you might want to share that maybe most people out there watching this wouldn't think of covering in an interview?
The basis for the interview is really the information that you cover in your hypnosis pre-talk. You should, there's different things you want to talk about, and I don't really find that many strange things. Sometimes there's tasteless things. Like, for example, I have some videos up on YouTube, and people can leave comments, and they'll say, have you ever used hypnosis to take advantage of so-and-so for money or sex or something like that? And what are you going to answer? Say, well, if I did, I wouldn't tell you, right? So, I don't know. These people, they just have the same questions. Does it really work? How does it work? What are the qualifications to be a hypnotist? What's the difference between a hypnotist, a hypnotherapist? These kinds of things. And I know some people will ask me, gosh, I'm going to go do a talk somewhere. Is that kind of where you're getting at there, Meredith?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, okay. So you get invited to do a talk maybe at like a business group or something like that. And this is really simple. It's your pre-talk. And you should have a pre-talk. A pre-talk is that talk that you give a new client that's designed to remove any false beliefs about hypnosis that could generate fear that could inhibit the hypnosis process. So you probably have one of those, and it probably takes somewhere between 10 and 20 minutes, depending on how much detail you go into. Personally, I like using a video, and I have a pre-talk video that's about 20 minutes long. But I can take that and I can scale it down to a 10-minute talk, or I could turn it into a 10-day certification course. It's basically what hypnosis is, what's the subconscious mind, the unconscious mind, the conscious mind, how does hypnosis work. We talk about the bypass of the critical factor and all that kind of stuff. So you can scale it up and scale it down. Now, something else that you should do when you do a talk, that's different than an interview, is you should do some demos. Now, there's different kinds of demos. The easiest demos is if you're with a group, do some hypnotic suggestibility testing. As a trained hypnotist, you should have some idea of what those are. Like there's the common hands rising and falling, suggestibility test, there's a hand clasp test, there's a number of them, pendulum tests, and you can do these tests with your audience. And if you get, even 20% of the audience to experience some phenomenon just by going through those suggestibility tests, then that makes it so much more interesting. But you're going to find out that if you deliver suggestibility tests well, you're going to have at least 2/3 of the audience experience some hypnotic phenomenon. The other thing you can do is some kind of rapid induction with some like convincers and tests like that. For example, you don't want to do a long progressive relaxation probably ever in your life, certainly not in your practice. Very, very few exceptions. But you'd never do a progressive relaxation in a demo because everyone would fall asleep, leave, go get coffee, or something like that. So you do like my Banyan induction. I'll put a link down there so that you can see that if you haven't already got it. And it takes about 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes max to do. And then just do like an eye lock test, arm catalepsy test, and it really makes it exciting for people. I could go on and on about this topic. One of the things you can do also is after you've done the talk, get a letter from the person who sponsored you in that says that they really enjoyed the talk. And then you can use that letter to promote doing other talks at other organizations if you like doing that kind of thing. How's that, Meredith?
Really good. And so, have you gone about, once again, kind of like the interview question, have you gone about trying to get these talks, or have these offers kind of come to you in the past?
Yeah, in the vast majority of cases, they've just come to me, and it did the trickle up thing with the local newspaper and then getting larger recognition. The other thing is, I think it's just important that inside for you to feel ready and prepared and willing, and it will attract it. And for example, one really great thing that happened to me was while we were in Minneapolis, this one news anchor, Pat Miles, wonderful lady, had lost her father's World War II diary, and she was interested in trying to remember where she'd put it. And she was calling around. She had heard somewhere that hypnosis would help someone with recalling things, and she was calling hypnotist after hypnotist, and called our office, and they said, "Oh, sure, that's easy. We do that all the time," kind of attitude. And they came in with a whole, there was Pat Miles, the news anchor I only ever saw on TV, which was kind of exciting. And there was the producer and the light guy and the microphone guy and the camera guy, all there in my audience, all there in my office. And we do the pre-hypnosis interview, and then we do the session. And because I helped her to find her, I think it was father's or grandfather's World War II diary, it really was a great hit. And then later, and boy, I tell you what, we got a lot of appointments out of that. Then she went on to radio, and she had me on as a semi-regular guest, and I was on the radio many different times. And yeah, that's where it's handy to just offer them. Every time I go in, I would think up 3, 4, 5 different questions, say, oh, here's some other ideas about what you can ask me. And it's just a lot of fun. Go on. When you do these interviews, you got to be fun, you got to be informative. That's the two things, fun and informative, so that they feel like they're bringing their audience something of value, entertainment and information. You do that, and they'll ask you back over and over again. And word will spread. I've done interviews over the phone, where they've called me in all kinds of different states, like to promote books, but I really haven't gone out and tried to get them. I'm sorry, I just don't have a lot of information on that for you. They just come to me. So that's why I think it's important. Have a good website. They will find you on the website. You can actually have a press kit on your website, which has some information. You definitely have to have a bio where you have your awards and credentials and things like that. Writing articles, having them on your website shows that you're an authority, and that's what producers do now. They surf the web and try to find who the authorities are. I think by having audio and video programs out like this, you show yourself as someone who could be on TV or who could be on the radio and carry on a fun and informative conversation. How's that?
Perfect. Yeah. I mean, that's really what I wanted people to know, that you don't really have to go out looking for it. Certainly, if that's something that you choose to do to promote yourself as a professional and to try to, you know, get more clients, you can, but you don't need to. It's really about being prepared. It's about being in that state of mind, and, you know, it's about, you know, creating the space for it, really. You can really use the law of attraction in that way to allow for that to come in. But if you have fears about it, or if you're not prepared for it, then most likely it won't come to you. And so I really wanted people to hear you say that yeah, it does just come to you. It can just come to you. Best to be prepared. So that's what I got from that, and thank you so much. And it's time to wrap it up, Cal. Anything else you want to say before I wrap it up?
Wrap it up.
All right. This is Meredith Locker. Thank you so much for tuning in to us today. We are wrapping up our professional development little mini-series that we just did. We'll be moving into some client questions, exciting client questions, or I'm sorry, actually hypnotherapist questions, next session, next segment. And you can check out my information on yourpathhypnosis.com. We'll see you next time. Meredith Locker signing off.
This is Cal Banyan. One quick little advice. You want to go to the National Guild of Hypnotists Solid Gold Weekend. It's going to be in Anaheim, California, February 26, 27, 2011. And what's the Solid Gold? It's all award-winning speakers from the National Guild of Hypnotists Convention. Right now I'm looking over the list of proposed speakers that the NGH sent me. Oh my goodness, I'll tell you, there's some really good speakers I've got here that they're going to be picking from, and I'm so excited because I'm going to get to be there, and I'm going to do a topic for you, and I'm still open to suggestions. Leave a comment below with something you'd like to have me talk about. Maybe you're sick of hearing me talk about stuff. Maybe I'll just talk about Meredith. That would be fun. I'd go up there at the Solid Gold Weekend, and I would spill the beans about everything I know about Meredith and Elron and Celeste. That would be a hit. Okay, visit my websites, Hypnosis, etc. That's facebook.com/hypnosis etc. And of course, there's hypnosis.org, where we organize the world of hypnosis for you. Bye. Cal Banyan, signing out. This recording is the property of Cal Banyan and Cal Banyan's Banyan Publishing Incorporated. All rights reserved, for private use only, may not be duplicated without written permission.